Just as healthy relationships are essential for a healthy family, good understanding and use of relationships is essential to a healthy organ Salesforce. That's why. Pay attention and stay with me for the entire duration of this video. Alright, here's my plan. I'd like to tell you about the key types of relationships. We'll look at examples of each, and then we'll do some classwork. Before we jump in, I'd like to ask you to do a couple of things. First, make sure you have a laptop and you have access to a Salesforce DevWork so you can do the classwork. What is CRM? CRM is a central place where business can store customer and prospect data, track the customer interactions, share this information with colleagues, and make sales. CRM is essential for business to manage relationships with customers successfully. If companies want to successfully manage the relationship with customers, it's essential that they adopt an efficient and effective CRM program. And there are many programs out there, but we will look at the use of Salesforce. What is key to organizing this entire data about customers, their interactions with them? So let's say we have a lot of information about customers. Let's look at this table. Let's say this is the sheet, and this sheet has information about opportunities. This one has information about the cases. This sheet has information about contacts. How do we connect the different sheets? Each sheet just by itself, without connecting to anything else, is useless. It is essential for us that information in our database is connected. And how do we connect this information? How do we organize the information in the table? Exactly, through relationships. Relationships is key to organizing our information. And what is a relationship? A relationship in the context of Salesforce is a bidirectional association between objects. Relationships link one object to another. What is an object? An object is just like a sheet in Google or in Excel. And in Salesforce, what kind of relationships do you know about? Think about it. Write down about the type of relationships you know on a piece of paper. If you need time to think about it, you can pause the video and hit play again once you're ready. In Salesforce, the main two types of relationships are master detail and lookup. Now let's try understand master detail relationship. Master detail relationships is a very strong type of relationship. Imagine here are some records which are like states: Texas, Maryland, New York, and here's USA. Maryland, Texas, New York have to be within US. Texas cannot decide, hey, I want to be part of Mexico, I want to be part of Mexico. No, it cannot happen. Texas has to stick to US. That's why it's a very strong relationship. Can you think of a similar analogy from every day? Is there another kind of relationship where the child record, like Texas, cannot disassociate itself from the parent record, which is the country, like USA? So just to remind you, in the example I showed you, USA is the parent, right? And what is the child? Obviously it's Texas, parent, child. Child cannot leave the parent, and the parent cannot abandon the child. Do you think the child can exist without the parent? No. Can the child decide to change the parent? Like, can Texas say, I want to be part of Mexico or Canada? No. What would happen to these states if we delete USA in Salesforce? Everything would be deleted. USA record and the child records would be deleted as well. This makes sense, right? This is a very strong relationship. Without the parent, the children cannot exist. Can you think of similar examples from real life? Pause this video for a few minutes and write some examples. This is a very helpful exercise for you to understand this concept, master detail relationship. This might seem simple, but this is a very important topic that is essential for you to understand. Therefore, don't rush, make a little pause, and make some examples of master detail relationships that you know from every day. And here's the example from Canada. Canada and its provinces have a strong relationship. Ontario cannot decide to become part of the US. Quebec cannot decide to become part of the USA. Okay, now it's time for classwork. So we looked at this example, right? USA, parent record, Texas, child record. Let's go ahead and create this in Salesforce. Let's look at how to create parent records. Let's look at how to create child records. Let's have a look at how to establish the master detail relationship between them. Logging into test.org, right? Going into setup now, and then looking for objects. So let's create a new custom object. We'll call it a country, right? Countries. All right. The name of a record in the country object will be country name. All right. Okay. And then we'll create another object. We'll call it states. States. A record is called a state. And we'll save it. Okay. All right, let's go back and let's look at these custom objects. Country. Okay, so here's the country and where's the state? And here's the state. All right. Now, what we want to do is create a master detail relationship from state to country. What we want to show right now is that a state is part of a country. How do we do that? We have to go to state. If you already know how to do it, go ahead and do it. If you don't, you can pause it and work on it. Once you're ready, you can play the video again and see how I do it. Alright, so I'm creating a new field, and the field will establish a relationship, and I'm doing a master detail relationship. So just to step back, right? I'm on the state object, and on the state object I'm creating a custom field. This will be a field that will establish the master detail relationship. I'm establishing the master detail relationship with the country object. Okay, the field label is country, field name is country, states. Okay, click next, next, and let's click save. Alright, let's create a tab quickly for the country object. It doesn't matter what tab style we do. Okay, click save. Let's create another tab. This one will be for the state. Also, we can just quickly click next, next, save. Okay, we're done. Alright, so we created, so here's our state object and here's our country object. And remember, right, we created the master detail relationship from state to country. So what that means is, if you create a state, a country is essential, right? How can you have a state without a country? It's impossible. That's why it has to be a master detail relationship. So let's test it. Did we do it correctly? And how do we test it? We create a record of a state. Okay, let's call it Texas. And see the country. It's required. It's asking, if you create a record, you have to have a country. And I got no countries. So I'll go back and let's create a country. Call it USA. Let's create another one. We'll call it Canada. Okay. Now let's look for a country. And here we have USA. Saved it. Awesome, right? Now we have one state record. Let's create a new one. Let's call it Maryland, the state I live in. Well, Maryland will be part of the US. Let's create another one. California, the state of Salesforce, the CRM software we all love. Okay, let's look at all our state records. Let's change the view a bit. We want to see the state and the country that each of it is a part of. So we got California, part of the US, Maryland, part of the US, Texas, part of the US, right? All good. Let's create a couple of states for Canada. Quebec, Ontario, also Canada, and British Columbia. Alright, so now we got 6 states and provinces. Let's look at them all. It's all correct. All the states have a master detail relationship to a country. What happens if we click on a country? Click on a country, and here in the related list of the country we can see all the states in its related list. Right? Very useful. Let's go back and let's click on USA, and here we can see all the states of the USA in its related list. This makes absolute sense, right? Now that you know how master detail relationships work, let's look at lookups. Lookups, in comparison to master detail relationships, is a very weak relationship. It's a loose relationship. And a good analogy I could come up with is, imagine you're a human. Say there's Mary, there's Ted, there's Nancy, and these humans happen to be living in the US. They're not constrained to living in the US. If Ted wants, he can go and live in Czech Republic, he can live in Canada, or any other countries he chooses. So in this case, the parent is USA, because say Ted right now is in the territory of USA, and the child here is a human. Can Mary visit Canada? Yes, she can just take her passport and just walk across the border and she'll be in Canada. You remember in the previous example, Texas. Can Texas say, hey, I want to be part of Canada? No. It's a master detail relationship. It's a strong relationship. And lookup, by default, it's a weak relationship. The child record is not constrained. The child record is not locked in to the parent record. If we want, we can make it to be locked in, but by default, it's not. In a lookup relationship, what happens to a human, say Ted, if USA disappears? Nothing, right? Ted is still there. Humans existed before USA was there. But say Texas did not exist, the state. The legal entity Texas did not exist before USA. So can you think of another analogy that can show, that can demonstrate the weak relationship, a lookup relationship? Pause the video for a few minutes and write out a few examples. Really try to do this exercise because it's essential that you understand what a lookup relationship is. Some examples I like to show are, say, account and contacts, account and opportunity. Opportunity is a child record to an account. Contacts is a child record to account. Right? Similarly, there might be some people who live in Canada right now. Pierre, Mohammed, Alex. Pierre can come to US. Alex can come to US. Alex can go to Czech Republic, anywhere. And the relationship between this human object and this country object is a lookup relationship, okay? Now let's look at how to create this lookup relationship. And this is Classwork. I hope you guys are following along on your laptop, in your Salesforce dev org. Just to reiterate, lookup is a loose relationship. By default, parent is not required for a child record, but you can make it required if you wish. Besides lookup, there is also self relationship, which is when a record refers to another record in the same object. For example, you might see on an account, there's a field called parent. And what that field is so you see, it's asking for parent account. So here, let's look at this account and see, you must have seen this field called parent account. So let's just say I pick some account and mark it as parent for Burlington Textiles. And now this account is looking up to parent account. This account becomes a child record of another account. So this is called self relationship. Okay, that was called self relationship. What we also have is hierarchical relationship. This is a special relationship only available for the user object. And you might have seen it as well, but just didn't know it's referred to as the hierarchical relationship. So we can just click users. Here we go. So here you see there is a hierarchy. It's kind of similar to the self relationship, but there is much more depth to it. Yeah, you can have a owner, CEO, VP, etc., etc., directors, managers, that's down to the sales rep, associates. So this is called hierarchical relationship. So we got master detail relationship, lookup relationship, self relationship, hierarchical relationship. And do you know how you can see all these relationships in Salesforce? Just as, for example, you'd like to see family in a family tree, there is something similar in Salesforce, which is called schema. Right, all you have to do is type in schema here, and you click on Schema Builder. And here on the left hand side, you see all your objects. Here you see the connection, all your objects on this canvas. And these blue lines indicate that there is a lookup relationship between the objects, and the red line indicates that there is a master detail relationship. So let's just look at the account. Let's clear everything except the account. Where is the account? Right here. Here's the account. And then let's have also opportunity. So here we see that there's an account can have many opportunities. See, one account splits up, right? The fork. That means one account can have many opportunities. What about contacts? Also, one account can have many contacts. And you see this line? It's blue. It means it's a lookup relationship, okay? The relationship between account and contact is a lookup. The relationship between account and opportunity is also lookup. Let's look at this one. There's also blue. Contact also has self-relationship, and it's a lookup from contact to contact. I like to clear everything and start from scratch. Otherwise, if I select all the objects, it just becomes chaos. It's like a big chaos, because a lot of works have a lot of relationships. See, everything is intricately connected. That's why it's essential that you understand the importance of relationships. So now is classwork time, and here I'd like you to learn how to create lookup relationships. So you remember my example? Here we have a country, which is the parent, and the child record is a human, like a contact. Ted, Mary, Nancy. So they are the child records of USA, and the relationship between Ted and USA is a lookup relationship. Same here. Pierre is a child record to a lookup relationship of Canada. Okay, let's depict this in Salesforce. Do you have an idea how to do it? Pause this video right now and depict this picture in Salesforce. Once you figure it out, hopefully within 2-3 minutes, you can play the video again. Now I'll start. Okay, I'm on the contact. And from contact, I'll create a new field. Lookup relationship to the country. All right. So just to remind you, we created a lookup relationship from contact to a country. And let's test it. Can we actually link a contact to a country? I'm creating, so let's say Ted, human. Okay, here it is. See, this field is now appearing here. And let's choose Ted. Right, Ted is part of the US. Let's create another one. Mary, human. Also, she's part of the US. And let's create a few Canadians. Pierre, human. Pierre. Canada. Muhammad. Alright, let's look at all our contacts now. So we created 4 contacts. Alright, let's edit the view. I'd like to see the name of the contact and the country they belong to. So here we go. Mary, Muhammad, Pierre, Ted. Mary is part of US, Muhammad is part of Canada, or visiting Canada. Pierre is right now visiting Canada too, and Ted is in US. Fantastic, right? And if we go to US, here we can see in US which are the states, and here we can see which are its tourists. Just from this view we cannot tell that this is a massive detailed relationship, but from this view we can tell that what the child records are of the USA. So just to reiterate, we created lookup field from contact object to country object. We created some tourist records, which were the human records. Ted, Pierre, Muhammad. Now imagine, what if citizens, imagine our contacts could be dual citizens or triple citizens. Pierre had citizenship both for Canada and US. How would you show that? How would you show that? That brings us to the topic of many-to-many relationships. A country can have many citizens, and a citizen can be part of many countries. Say you are a Department of Homeland Security person, and you want to put together a list of all people who are citizens of one or more countries. So imagine you're a person in the Department of Homeland Security, and you need to put together such a list. How would you do it? In Salesforce. And here's how. You create an object called multi-citizens. Then you create a massive detailed relationship from, and here's how you do it. You create an object called multi-citizens and create a massive detailed relationship from multi-citizens to contacts. Basically, the multi-citizens object would be the child of the contacts object, and you create a massive detailed relationship from multi-citizens to countries. So basically, multi-citizens is a child object to 2 different objects, okay? So mini quiz. After each question, please pause the video for a minute to think of an answer. The first question for you, my dear listeners, is, what is CRM? The second is, how do you create an object? Go ahead and create an object right now. What is self-relationship? Can you explain it in very simple words so that a 5-year-old kid can understand what is self-relationship? Make a very simple example of a self-relationship. What is hierarchical relationship? Can you also explain this to a 5-year-old? What is hierarchical relationship? What is the main difference between massive detail and lookup relationship? Can you depict that difference using Salesforce? And finally, and probably the most difficult, is what is a junction object, and can you create a junction object right now? Thank you very much for your attention. Go ahead, please subscribe to my channel. There'll be a lot of awesome content coming, and I look forward to hearing your questions.